finished. I have something more to say. I am so glad today that we had the courage to go with this, because the impact of the story and of you on this conference and on all of us has been amazing. I can't really find words.
You're going to make me cry.
Yeah, well, I will cry. You have encouraged us to explore our cave and open our gate. And you have challenged us to take the leap. Because in this story experience, we have experienced that we can be the heroes of our own stories. And we can have the courage to create change. And we do have the resources. And thank you so much for that. Yeah. And with that, I think it may be time to conclude.
What happened to the filming? You have to hear the rest of the story. Yeah, it's now.
Okay. ABBA always gets me. So where were we? She was standing on the edge of the abyss, and she had met death, really, or the potential of death. And my plane is leaving really soon, so I'm really sorry. We just don't. No. The truth is that we can't finish the story until we hear a tiny little bit more of your stories. If you remember yesterday, when I started to tell the story, I came from the back of the room, and it's because my real belief is that the story comes from you, and perhaps through me. So before we finish, I wanted to collect your inspiration on that spiritual challenge that the princess faced, and then perhaps she will have the strength to continue.
It's very exciting. Everybody's looking at our life and saying, ooh, you're lucky, and it's amazing. And my blog, just thinking about it, I'm still scared, right? I really get anxious and afraid. I came for the adventure, where the safety of being on shore doesn't heal me anymore. If you do nothing, it's not going to go away.
I got lost in a lava desert. Be curious about the situation, because every situation has a thing to teach you. Things doesn't happen just because. They happen, all of them, for a reason.
I've had an eating disorder for 15 years of my life, and I had to make a choice whether I wanted to live or to die. Take your time. The solution will come.
Then I come down myself and think about why I'm here.
They said to me that your father has died in a fire accident. And the moment I went in there, I thought, will I be able to handle this? No matter what happens, I have to face it. And connect to what you know about yourself.
I was in Peru, in the Amazon River, and I was in a shamanic ceremony with 10 shamans. Had a sense that if this is what life is about, I just wanted to end it there and then. I almost heard like a voice that said, well, the dilemma you are facing, not even death will solve it. I learned to let go in the face of maximum fear.
I passed out, found myself on the ground, and stood up. While standing up, I felt that I couldn't move my chin to my chest. It is called meningitis in the end. So all of a sudden the monitor stopped. And then I experienced something that I will never forget, is that life is part of death, or death is part of life. So the only thing that I can do is live now, and take every day when I wake up, I'm not dead.
I have a son who was in a very, very tough space, and so tough that I was thinking, how have I failed as a mother? What have I done? And do I go frantic and search for him in the streets? Or do I stay here? And I heard a voice, and the voice said, sit in meditation. Sit quietly and we will bring him home to you. And the thing that you need to learn is to let go. So I went, it was 5 in the morning, woke up, went and sat in meditation. And 3 hours later, my boy turned up at home. Not in a very good frame of mind, but he came home.
That everything is perfect the way it is.
She needs to listen to the voice that is guiding her and trust herself to know that she has the resources within her and all around her.
On the edge in front of the abyss, she suddenly turned around, looked back at the cottage and saw smoke coming out of the chimney, and the old woman beckoning her. So she went back to the house and sat down in front of the fire, and the old woman said to her, "You've known the answers all along. They're inside you. Go to the maze. You'll find what you're looking for." She embraced the old woman, ran out of the house, ran to the edge of the clearing, and made the leap right over the abyss. She landed on the other side and ran like the wind down the hill, right into the maze. The hedges were on either side of her, so high they almost touched the sky. And the path in front of her was grassy, lined with stones, grey with a green tinge. She picked one up and it fit her palm perfectly. She put it in her pocket. And then she walked on until she came to the center of the maze. And there she found the wooden chest. She took the stone out of her pocket and put it in the lock. It fit perfectly. And she twisted it to the side until she heard the click that the lock opened. With one hand on each side of the chest, she opened it up. Inside the chest was a small bottle with a green liquid inside, and beside it, her flute. She put her hands forward and held on to each item, and as she pulled it towards her, the maze melted away, and standing in front of her were her 3 guards, the dwarf, the giant, and the witch. They smiled at her, and then she heard the whisper, but this time she knew it wasn't coming from the wind, it wasn't coming from the cave, it wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from within her. It was a familiar voice of herself, and this time the message was complete. Explore the cave. Be brave. Find courage. Open the gate. Open the gate. Find a way to create. Descend the mountain range. Embrace change. And she saw that indeed the 3 guards were her guides, and they one by one disappeared. And she knew that now finally she had the courage to create change. And it was time to go home. That's where I do my magic. She held them close to her. And closed her eyes, and when she opened them, she was at home with her father in the room, and he lay in the bed looking as ill, as weak, as exhausted as she had left him. And she took the bottle and she put some drops on his lips, and the color came back to his face. But he didn't revive. So then she took out her flute and she played that song. You remember that song, that beautiful song that had healed her in the past? And he sat up, but he still wasn't recovered. And then she told the story. But she didn't tell the story with all the fear. and the pain and the panic and the unknown. She felt to tell the story with all those things, but with great joy. And it was only when she finished telling the story that he was healed. So she took that little bottle of water and she went to the river that provided the source of water for the whole kingdom and went beneath the earth. And she poured in the liquid. And then she called for everybody in the kingdom to take out their music, their instruments, and play those songs that resonated for them so much, those songs that was their soul music. And she called for them to tell their stories. Because everyone who hears the story goes on a journey. And therefore, when you go on the journey, you find the courage to create change. And so each one of you have been on this journey. The story was only the vehicle, the conference was the journey, and perhaps this whole life as a coach is a journey. I know for some of you, you're starting out, and for some of you, you're way down the path. But as you tell the stories, you find the courage to create change. So I'd like you to stand up for a moment and to turn to the person beside you and to shake their hand or give them a hug and wish them well as they go on their journey and find the courage to create change. Thank you.
Have a safe journey home.